Hi everybody, I'm just doing a quick video on a screwdriver I picked up for my son. This is a Kymco Agility RS. Now I bought this as a non-runner and the guy said it was running but he couldn't find the battery. The guy went down the road and he only went a couple of miles and it kept bogging down, is the word that they use, and cutting out. But when I got it back and I put a battery on it and turned it over, all it did was flood. When I took the spark plug out, it was absolutely soaking. So I took the carb off and the slide wasn't sitting down, wouldn't slide up and down freely in the carburetor. It wouldn't even go down to the stop for the idle. Initially I thought they'd changed the jet in it and the jet was getting stuck in the upper needle, in the main jet. But on closer inspection and pissing about with it a little bit, they'd obviously taken it apart and there was a burr on the top of the slide which wasn't letting it go into the top of the throat of the carburetor. So I cleaned that up, slid up and down lovely. She started straight up, went up and down the road on it, fine. So I know the engine runs, so now I'm just sorting out the minor problems where they're obviously crashed. A normal thing, bent the brake levers. That one's bending down. That'll be easy to sort out. This one, I don't think I'm going to get that back. Now the thing to do with these is, you've got one chance of straightening that out, but what you need to do is anneal it. Now what that means is you're making the aluminium, this is aluminium, more malleable. Now you can do this for all different types of metal, but aluminium specifically. So I'll take this off. If you rub just normal soap on there and then you take this indoors and put it on over your gas ring to warm it up, obviously holding this with a pair of pliers, when that soap turns brown, that is exactly the right temperature, the annealing temperature. Because it's aluminium, there's no color change when you warm it up. So it's not like steel. The annealing temperature of steel is red hot. So you heat it up to red hot, let it cool, and the steel will be more flexible, which is what malleable means. So with aluminium, because there's no color change, you have to put something on there. You can rub oil on there if you haven't got soap, and when the oil burns off, all of a sudden you get loads of smoke come off it. That is the annealing temperature for aluminium. I find it easier to use soap, a hard soap, because you can rub it on, take it in the kitchen, play it over the top of the gas ring, and when the soap goes brown, that's the annealing temperature. Let it cool down, then you can take it out and slowly ease that straight in the vise. Now you might find as you start to move it, it starts to harden. So then you take it back in and anneal it again. So what you're doing is you're making all the particles relax. And as you start to bend something, they all start to lock together. Like if you're trying to snap something off and you move it backwards and forwards really quickly, if you feel it, it's getting hot. And what that's doing is it's hardening as you're bending it. And it only snaps because the steel is work hardened. And it gets so brittle it snaps off. So what you're doing is when you're annealing that, you're relaxing all the particles and you can slowly bend that straight. I think that one, because it's a 90-degree bend, that's going to snap. That one is just curved down slightly, so we'll be able to flatten that one off easily. So I've just got to sort that problem out. There's no speedo, so I just undid the speedo cable. Hold on a sec. Just undone the speedo cable and it was snapped off at the wheel end, so it needs a new speedo cable. The plastics all need buffing up. The indicators, where it's been left outside, have gone a bit orangey, so we'll give them a T-cut, clean that up. Back end of the bike all looks pretty good, apart from the exhaust. The side guard on there, if you can see down in there, is broken off. So what we'll do is we'll take this cover off, make a new bracket for that, weld it on, probably take the exhaust off, give it a coat of paint. Might do it on there so I don't have to disturb the gasket. Bolt the air filter back on, give that a clean out. Got to get a new battery because it hasn't got a battery in. I use the one out of the Beamer just to get it turning over. Obviously this bike, I didn't realise, because I've never had one of these modern screws, you have to pull the front brake in to engage the starter. I didn't know that because it wouldn't turn over. So that was 125 quid. So we'll give that a polish up and a buff up, and a scooter for my lad. We'll check all the brakes over once we get all the other little jobs done. So all it's going to need is a speedo cable. Probably going to need one new handbrake thing. I'll tell you what I did notice is this is the switch gear for the lights. And the horn doesn't work, but I think what's happened is, mind that light there, is when he's fallen off, he snapped the mirror off. So this has been sitting in the garden and the water's been going down in there, and it's obviously got down into the horn switch. So I may muck around with that, see if I can get the horn working, because the lights work, although they work the opposite way around to what they should do. So it might just be that they're wired up wrong. Because when it's on low beam, the main is on. When you flash, the high beam comes on, but that is low beam. But I did see one of these on eBay, which was only $11.99, so it's not worth pissing about with this, but it's for an earlier model and it says it won't fit, but I can't see why not. I'll give the chap a ring. But apart from that, you know, these just need a coat of paint, and it just all needs the plastic buffing up, and we'll have a good bike. I didn't want to buy him a new one because his kids always fall off him. It's a good sized bike. So that's a Kymco 2016 non-runner Agility RS. Well, I'll get that running all cleaned up. I'll do another video. They're quite easy to de-restrict, but I think my lad are going to let him run on it at 30 miles an hour till he gets used to it, and then we'll talk about de-restricting it, which is just in the flywheel down there, there's a little like a socket, and where it's tapered they restrict it by tapering it so it changes the diameter, and all you do is take that out, stick another one in, and you're up to 45 miles an hour, which is what these bikes probably should run at before they're restricted. Anyway, Kymco 50cc. Any questions on the Kymco? I might not be able to answer them because I've only just started working on it, but there you go. Bye.